H- h-
Hello?
Hello.
Hello?
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Curiosity Cove. My name's Veda.
And this is your trusty captain speaking, and today we'll be talking about
Sagittarius. It's
Sagittarius.
our last. It's our last astrology podcast.
I know, when I was making the tweet, I was like, this is our last one. We've hit all 12. Well, 11 and now 12. But
Yeah,
yeah.
very true. Yeah, it's crazy to me. Also, disclaimer for all of you people at home: if things seem a little off today, it is because we had a little bit of a technical issue with an update to the streaming software.
Mm.
So as you'll notice, our microphone's gone. Don't really know why that happened. They said you can't have your microphones. But we may our levels might be different in terms of sound. So just a very,
Yeah.
very small disclaimer. Apologies for that.
It's not really our fault, but you can blame Streamlabs for sure.
Yeah, you can absolutely blame Streamlabs. I blame them every day for everything.
Yeah. Switch to OBS, yes.
I'm trying, dude. I need to.
Here, let's make a trade. You can help me set up Twitch alerts and everything, and I'll help you with OBS.
Oh,
Thoughts?
dude, guaranteed. Absolutely.
Done.
Done
Nice.
deal. Oh, all right. Well, anyways, how was your day?
Let's see. Pretty good, I won't lie. Work was pretty manageable, not too busy, not too lax. Got out an hour early. Took a little nap, which is why I was late to the office today. Um, woke up from that. It was a quick little 20-minute power nap, which I was just like, I needed it just to like refund my energy, I guess, just because I was feeling very like my eyes were sleepy. I was like my brain was slow, and now I'm good. So I'm ready to chat it up about Sagittariuses. But other than that, I really can't complain. think I had a very good day.
Hell yeah.
How was your day?
My day was I've been in like a funk lately, and so I think it's just carrying over. Did have a couple of exciting things, like when I got home, my stuff to do. I do my nails from home. I like the acrylic, the whole shebang, right? Because I'm a cheapo and I want to be able to just have them, but not pay $65.
Of course.
To a nail tech. And I'm an artist, so I can do the little cute designs and stuff. And I'm a little excited because I got cat's eye polish today, and so it's like really fancy because you like put the magnet on it and it makes like the really
You
cool,
move the
like,
line.
Yeah.
I
So
love watching those on TikTok.
yeah, me too. And so I finally I was like, fuck it, I'll get some to try it. So I have some, and I think I'm gonna do like a really deep blue and then like a shiny blue cat's eye for kind of like a winter vibe. So I'm excited. And so yeah, I'm gonna do that after. I literally have like my giant box of nail shit to the left of me. I'm gonna do it right after when we get off the podcast. So that was exciting. And then wait, that might actually be it. I've had a really boring week, so I think that about sums up the excitement of my day. And then yeah, I this weekend I'm straight up doing art all weekend. So I guess that's like kind of a thing to look forward to. I do.
That's fun.
Yeah.
You just throw on something to watch or listen to and just zone out and go for it. Art days.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's fun. I got D&D tomorrow, so I'm excited.
Fun.
Yeah,
D&D.
I'm super excited.
Yeah, so I think I'm just gonna have like a really chill weekend, so I guess that's one thing to look forward to, where I'm gonna do art, work on stuff for next week's podcast, and then kind of like wrap up all of my business for the year, I guess.
Yeah, pretty much. That's what I was thinking about doing. Sometime next week I just gotta sit down and just crank out like final year stream stuff, podcast stuff, and just make sure I'm ready to like jump into 2025 for new stuff.
yeah, I gotta. Dude, I feel like I have so much planned for the coming year, and I just feel like I haven't like made any progress towards it because I keep going, oh, it's next year's stuff.
That's how I feel.
Yeah, it's like
planning
next year's gonna come
so
a lot
hard.
quicker.
Yeah, I feel like it was just October.
Yeah. Yep.
Yuck.
So Yeah, that's the I'm in that boat too, where I'm like, damn,
Yeah.
next year's coming a lot quicker than I thought it was.
Mhm.
So kind of gotta hit the ground running at this point.
That's okay. I think we'll get there. We'll get there.
hmm
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, do you have any words, any cap words today?
I do.
Oh,
But before we jump into that, I didn't know if you had any listings for peeps who you know as Sagittariuses. I only know two, and you know one of them.
um, is the one I know Peyton?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, well, I guess you know the other one too, Yapina from Senshi.
Oh, okay. Is it
Her birthday
Sagittarius?
was earlier this month as well.
Hey, cool.
Yeah.
Fire signs. Uh,
I'm
but
saying.
yeah, I think I know two like old friends who are Sagittariuses, but I don't know if I
Mhm.
know anybody that I still talk to.
Yeah, those are the only two I could have listed.
I feel
But I do
like
have a cap word,
okay.
and I still don't know what it means. So if you know what it means, I really need layman's terms here. So it's dichotomy. So I've heard it in like a show I was watching recently, and it, by Google definition, is a division or contrast between two things that are or are represented as being opposed or entirely different.
Yeah, like love
The
and hate.
statement they have is a rigid dichotomy between science and mysticism.
Yeah. So I mean basically what a dichotomy is it's um like a nondescript contrast. Like love and hate or peace and war. Like things that are
Hmm.
not necessarily always related as direct opposites, but like
Go hand
they're
in hand.
yeah, they're presented to us as opposites. So like love and hate are not always like if you don't love someone, you don't necessarily hate someone, but like they're proposed to us as opposites because they are so drastically different.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like kind of like think of it as they're sides of a scale, like they're like an extreme.
Mm-hmm.
Um because it's the same thing with like peace and war, right? Like you don't necessarily find yourself completely at peace with someone, but you're also not at war with them. You're floating somewhere in the middle. So
Yeah.
dichotomy is basically the thing that is between those two extremes. So like a dichotomy between love and hate.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think I would have ever been able to use those words properly, but your description definitely helped a lot better.
Yeah, I feel like dichotomy is often used as like a way to explain opposites when realistically it's just things that are like an either or instead.
Yeah.
Like you either love someone or you hate someone. That's how it's presented, but it's not
Yeah.
necessarily true.
Yeah. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would say this is a cap word that like I just simply didn't know, but I've heard quite often previously, but I don't have any beef with it. Like it's just a very unknown word to me that I just needed a little help on explaining.
Just an interesting word.
Yeah. Also
Yeah.
spelled gross, so I guess there's that.
It's like Dichotomy, right?
Yeah.
Dichotomy.
Dichotomy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dichotomy, if you will.
Dichotomy.
I
I'm
love it.
gonna scrump that pronunciation. I hope you know.
I knew you were gonna say scrump. I was like, she's
It's
gonna say it. I don't know how it's gonna go in, but scrumping's gonna go in.
That's so
Do we have a
good.
word with Vadu today?
We don't. I don't think I
Dang it.
really ever have one for astrology. Cause like things are so vague in astrology, I just never come across like complex words where I'm like, oh, that would be a good cocktail term. Um
True.
I am gonna be on a specific lookout for words for next week because it'll be the last one of the year and I feel like I have to do one.
I'm gonna look for one as well,
Yeah.
but maybe I'm gonna try and aim for one that I have beef with and one that I just like really like.
Yeah.
I'll try to go for 2. That's my goal, but if I don't end up with at least 1, I'll be sad. So
Completely understandable, yeah. All right. Well, should we get into the swing of it?
Let's jump right in.
All right. So, for those of you who haven't been here for the last 11, the way that we usually do this is that I'm going to go over the 3 major positions for the astrology sign. So for Sagittarius, we're going to go over the sun, the moon, and the rising. That sun is your true self. That moon is your emotional self. That rising is your outward portrayal of yourself, so to speak. And then after that, we're going to kick it over to Cap, and she's going to talk to you about who is great for Sagittarius and who outright sucks. So jumping right into it, our fast facts, as I like to call them, for Sagittarius is it is a fire sign. It is ran by the planet of Jupiter, which is arguably my favorite planet. It is represented by the archer, which I think is like a non-human archer, if I remember correctly, but everything I was looking up gave me a human archer, so I think I Mandela affected myself.
Probably.
Its tarot card is Temperance. Upright temperance means balance, peace, patience, moderation, tranquility, and serenity. Reversed temperance means imbalance, excess, extremes, recklessness, and hastiness. And lastly, this is a mutable sign. So as you guys know, we have different labels for each of the 3 signs in each of the 4 elements. Mutable signs are the zodiac signs that are known for being flexible and adaptable because they actually kind of usher us out of each season. So for instance, Sagittarius has ushered us out of fall, which I don't love, but I'll take.
But whatever, I guess.
But yes, mutable signs are just known for being incredibly resourceful, incredibly productive, and super open-minded people. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the sun sign traits for Sagittarius. Again, this is like the core person kind of position. So if you're born between these dates kind of sign, for anybody who might not know a lot. The first one, I do have 6 this time. The first one is that they are very honest. Some people may read this as them being kind of tactless. Sagittariuses are a fire sign, so they do have that kind of like, you know, very fiery, confident, exterior to them. And because of that, they are a little direct when they're being honest with you. You know, they're a little blunt. And I think a reason that a lot of people see it as being a little tactless is that they're so sincere when they say things that when they're being honest with you, it just comes across like, I'm going to tell you this and I don't really care if it hurts you. And that's not what it is. It's just that they genuinely want you to know the facts because they genuinely like appreciate knowledge and they think that everybody else should, you know, obtain or have the same knowledge. So they're going to present this to you as directly as they can, and it might hurt your feelings, and then they will switch their vibe really fast because they are good people. It's just that point blank, this is the truth. Cool. And so I think that's why a lot of people say it as tactlessness, but it really is. It's honestly, they're just incredibly honest people. They're just they want you to know. They're like, I think the best way I can think of to describe it is that like if somebody was saying something bad about you to a Sagittarius would call you up on the phone and be like, so-and-so said this, just want you to know. And so like, it seems like, okay, what the fuck, man? That was very bluntly put, but they just want you to know.
Yeah, I feel like there could be a lot better ways, but I feel like they'd rather just give you the truth even if it hurts.
Yeah, and that's exactly how they are. And it's funny because like I see this in Peyton a little bit because he's so like he's so blunt.
Yeah.
He's so like unapologetically blunt.
Mm-hmm.
And so like I think it's funny because he comes from a family that is filled with a lot of people who are like not necessarily that they avoid emotions, but like they definitely like hold back a little bit. Him and Maddie though, direct, completely blunt. They will tell you how it is in a second.
100%.
Yeah. So the next one I have is that they are very adventurous. Most of the time when a sign is adventurous, people read them as being a little reckless. In this case, I would say it's probably a little bit of both. Fire signs by nature are very like impulsive. Sagittarius is not spared from that. Their impulsivity just technically is a little more of spontaneity. Like they're a little more spontaneous than they are impulsive. So it's like it's never something completely reckless that they do, but like they will like impulsively take a trip. They will impulsively go to that bookstore 2 hours out of the way because they heard that this one book might be there that they've been looking for a hard copy of, and rather than wait for it on Amazon, they'd rather drive the 2 hours to a bookstore to pick it up. Like they're those type of people. And then the next one that I have is that they are social butterflies. This one is like a very soft trait. Like it doesn't apply to the entirety of Sagittarius, but it does cover like a pretty wide range. A lot of people would probably read these social butterflies as being a little bit of an attention seeker. But really what it is like I said before, Sagittariuses are very like knowledgeable people. They love knowledge and they're very big on obtaining new knowledge and getting as much of it as possible, which means they want to talk to as many people as possible to learn perspectives, to learn something new. They love talking to people from different walks of life or people in different fields of their own. And so because of that, people might think that they are attention seekers because they try to get everybody's attention and ask questions and get the focus on them. That's how it might come off. Really, it is just a very exciting thing to meet somebody who knows something that you don't as a Sagittarius.
Yeah, I've had it on the flip side for when we cover like the love part is that they're hella flirty too.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I think that might be a fire sign curse.
Oh yeah.
Like I think if Sagittarius had been, you know, graced with being like an earth sign, then they could just talk to everybody like they like to do and it wouldn't come off as them, you know, trying to get everybody's attention. It would just be them being real chill. But
It's
unfortunately, I feel you guys because I'm the same way. Yeah, we're stuck. As fire signs, it's like inevitable. We're flirts. Can't do anything about it. Just got to accept it. I just now openly flirt with everybody. And now it's just no surprise. Perfect. So then the next one is optimism. So Sagittariuses are actually like really renowned for being like one of the most optimistic signs. Not on like an annoying scale of like Lux from League of Legends optimism, but more so like on a scale of like 1 to I think it'll be okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah. They're just like they're very good at finding the positive in a situation, the silver linings, or you know, like the hope that a solution will work out, which actually makes them like very durable. Like it's hard to break them down just because like as long as there's a tiny ray of light, like Sagittarius will find a way to just keep going. A lot of people might read this as Delulu. You know, Sagittarius being a little delusional. And I think they're one and the same, if we're being honest. I think that people who are pessimistic or neutral will always see optimistic people as delusional because they can't understand what it's like to have hope to hold on to. And I know that's like a little deep and dark for for an astrology podcast episode,
Mm-hmm.
but I think that that's the case here. Is I think that Sagittarius are incredibly, like, they're lights of people. You know what I mean? Like, they give off this beautiful shine, and people like don't know how to handle it because they can't give off, they don't have the energy to give off that same light, and it just seems so natural for a Sagittarius that it's easy to peg them as being something like delusional.
Yeah, especially when most of the other signs I feel like have that opposite where it's like they're too realistic.
Yeah, and I think that
Yeah.
is, I would say that there are, because every earth sign is like that. They're a little too serious, right? So it's like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, putting an earth sign and a Sagittarius together, I won't lie to you, my guesses for later are probably going to be a couple earth signs. Um
For worse compatible?
yeah.
Yeah.
Because I just don't think, I think out of all of the fire signs, Sagittarius would probably do the worst with somebody like a Capricorn who is so down to earth. I mean, I could see
Mm-hmm.
positives to it. I just think that it would be like a short-term thing if anything, because I don't think that the reigning positivity and optimism and adventurous like Sagittarius could handle being like, you know, reeled in for
Yeah.
very long.
Mm-hmm.
Um yeah. So the next one that I have is that they are amazing storytellers. Um which probably reads as like a little bit of an exaggerating kind of storyteller. But really what it is they know the details that are important, since they are a very like knowledge based sign. That is like one of their like big loves. They know all of the information, they internalize it, they pick out what's going to be the best to share so that everybody's able to like understand the story that they're telling. They'll pick out all the funny parts, they'll pick out all of the shocking parts, and they just have this kind of like theatric presentation. It comes with that kind of like social butterfly kind of trait that they've got, where they're
Mm-hmm.
just able to like entertain a crowd with just their words, just a story. And so I would definitely say if you go to a party and you want to share a story and your story involves a Sagittarius, let them tell it. That's
I feel
my,
like storytelling's like such a good trait though.
it is. Yeah.
Like I could sit here and listen to someone just tell a story, especially if they're like one of the good ones. Like to be honest, I could care less if someone's like explaining it and they're leaving out like not juicy details, but like details that would give a little something something to the story to keep me wrapped in, get me like a little interest here. But if you're just like telling me as it is, I'm already tuned out, I won't lie.
Yeah, yeah. I'm like
Yeah, you gotta give me a little juicier.
I'm very like quick to get distracted. So
Mm.
I think it's easy for me to, I guess, like ignore somebody halfway through their story or just like completely tune out because I like my attention goes elsewhere for like 2 seconds and then I can't tune back in. I just like lose all track of it.
No, I feel that
Yeah.
really bad actually.
Yeah. So I think something like a Sagittarius's storytelling is something that like I need in my life because if you want me to know what happened between you and our mutual friend and you've been trying to tell me for an hour, dude, I'm sorry. I'm so easily distracted. I can't help it.
All right, note this down. Find Veda a Sagittarius dot.
Literally.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, great. And then the last one that I have is loves to learn, which is, I put this last because obviously we've covered it a bunch already. And most people will see them as being a little on the like too studious side, like everything is a lesson, or like, you know, there's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
a stigma to wanting to learn so much, where it's like, hey, you know, you can relax and have fun. Not everything needs to teach you something.
Mhm.
But the truth is, Sagittarius have an incredible way of balancing this. Like they take everything in as a lesson for sure, but they don't allow it to affect like the vibe or the current mood. Like, you know, things stick with them. So if
Mm-hmm.
if you're like at an amusement park with a Sagittarius and you guys are having fun, and then you explain how, you know, oh, I was watching a video about how this roller coaster works and da 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 da, they're not gonna go, oh my god, tell me everything, that's so cool. They're gonna go, yeah, that's it. I would love to know that. I'm gonna internally note that for later, and I'm gonna look up a video when we get home, and then they'll continue on with their day at the amusement park with you. Like they just,
Aw.
yeah, they're very, I mean, they love knowledge and they love people, so naturally they develop this incredible balance between like spending time with and learning from the people around them.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. That's probably my favorite trait
Cute.
about them, honestly.
Yeah, that sounds really cute.
Hmm. And then next we have Sagittarius moons. So again, moon signs are when your moon is in a certain sign, that is a reflection of like your emotional side of yourself. So Sagittarius is specifically, if you are Sagittarius moon, you're probably drawn to like the big questions in life. Again, with that knowledge that you're always seeking, just as a Sagittarius by nature. You want to know like the deeper meaning behind everything that you encounter. Every personal experience you've ever had, to the like existential workings of the universe. Like you're always questioning things. It's just who you are. And a lot of the time it is like an internal thing. But if you find somebody who questions those things as well, like it could be a 6-hour conversation in a parking lot in a car that you just have, like trading questions about, you know, what does it mean to be happy? What does it mean to have, you know, material objects? What if we had no material objects? What would happen then? Like if we didn't have personal belonging? Those kind of tangents are the tangents you get off on for whole nights.
Would they then have like moments of like existential dread, I
Oh, I'm
guess?
sure. I'm sure
Like
there
where they
are.
just don't feel like they have like a purpose kind of feel?
When you question that kind of stuff, I feel like it's inevitable to have like a lot of existentialism. But
Yeah.
I think if you're that philosophical, you maybe might adopt like the ideology from Socrates of like, you know, comfort in knowing nothing, like knowing that you know everything because you know nothing. That kind of paradox, you know?
Yeah, like kind
And
of like um reverse psychology of the brain, I
yeah, like
guess.
I feel like it's not necessarily that you accept it, you just come to
To
learn
terms
to be at
with it.
peace. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like and I'm sure that probably with questioning it so often, it probably happens sooner rather than later. Like
Yeah,
like
100%.
if I'm sitting here staring at space and I'm like, damn, I wish I knew the inner workings of like the universe and how galaxies work and blah 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 blah. I can ask that a billion times. I'm never gonna know. There's
Uh,
just I'm never gonna know. And the more that I ask, the more that I realize I'm never gonna know. And then you just kind of learn to live with that. You're just at peace with
mhm.
it, you know? So I'm sure
Yeah.
it's probably the same for things like existential dread.
Fair.
Um
That was just the first thing that came into my mind when I was thinking about it. I was like, you know what? If they're
mhm.
thinking about this all the time, that has to cross their mind.
I'm sure I bet you a
At
lot
least
of
more than once.
yeah, I bet you a lot of young Sagittariuses are very existential.
Hmm.
Um but yeah, that's definitely the big questions that you're, you know, always asking. Um, and it makes you a very good conversationalist. You always have some sort of insight or theory about your surroundings that maybe no one's ever heard before.
Hmm.
Um, and then on the flip side with rising, so like we said, risings are the kind of like outward portrayal. So it's how other people kind of see you. That's what the reflection is. And Sagittarius rising is, so since you are ruled by the planet Jupiter, it means that you are essentially like very expansive. And it usually brings like continuous luck. Like Sagittarius risings are known to be like pretty lucky people. which I think is so interesting because, like, in astrology, everything is very, very vague. There's nothing that points to, like, you are probably this. But when it comes to Sagittarius risings, everything says, like, you are a lucky person. And I think that is such an interesting, like, hard fact for them to say.
To know if there's a correlation between people at Vegas and if they're Sagittarius.
Oh, yeah, that would be interesting. Like,
That would be such a cool
I'm
experiment.
gonna
Like, which of the
post
signs is
up.
the luckiest?
I'm gonna post up at the like chip claim thing.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be like, "Excuse me, sir, how much did you win? And what's your astrology? What's your birthday, time of date, and where were you born?" Like, just so I can look up everybody's chart to see
Yeah, they're
where,
probably
like,
gonna be too
what the
drunk to
big.
be like, and Pisces. Like, there's no way.
Well, there's no way I'm going to get away with, "Excuse me, sir, how much did you win? And what's your rising sign?" Like,
Yeah, what's your rising, actually? They'll be like, what?
yeah, they would be.
Like,
I mean,
Curiosity Cove, we're here to interview you.
The hand out the business card. If you remember your rising sign, make sure you email us. Like,
Yeah, please do. We'd love to hear back.
But yeah, that is like a Sagittarius risings apparently are just like incredibly lucky people. I was shocked to learn that too, because there's not a lot in astrology that I'm not like, oh, figures. Yeah, I knew that, blah blah blah. But when I came across this, I was like, fucking luck. Like,
you kidding me?
What? When did we start? Like, we've talked about every other letter in special, but luck is where we ended with this year. That's crazy.
Yeah, I guess they get the 100%, huh?
Yeah, for real. So yeah, they enjoy, just like the rest of our Sagittarius signs, they enjoy like obtaining a lot of knowledge. It helps them kind of like improve on themselves to do it, and it sparks their creativity because more than their moon or sun counterparts, Sagittarius risings tend to be pretty creative. So
Neat.
the more that they learn, the more that can inspire their creativity.
Yeah.
I
wonder if they're all just teachers' pets.
Imagine. Okay. All right, new pitch.
Excuse me, you in school.
Yeah. Literally. Excuse me. Stand
no,
out hot. Us as two grown women stand outside of a high school. Excuse me, are you a teacher's pet? What's your rising
excuse
sign?
me, what are you guys doing here? You're not allowed. You're like, sorry, this is for Curiosity Cove, our podcast. Sorry, bye.
Sorry, we're just doing field research.
Field research? I don't think we can do field research on what I'm about to cover next.
Oh, well.
Well, here we go.
Well,
jumping into the love side of things.
Kicking over the cap for the love portion.
All right. So, of course, as we normally do, we got our brief description, attractive traits, and then our least and most compatible, and then we got some red and green flags. The red and green flags, I don't have too many of them, but they're still good ones. So, overall, Sagittarians are actually the bright and breezy sign of the zodiacs. They're just big hugs, bouncy energy, and they're quite the funny sign in the zodiacs, I won't lie. This is also partially due to their zero filters, as we said before. This can be either like actually being honest or a little too honest that it comes off blunt. But to be honest, I feel like some jokes, if they're like said the right way, if that makes sense, make it funny. So maybe that's like their kind of icebreaker to giving off the news. Other than that, they're normally too brutally honest to even notice. But excuse me, they'll have said things to you maybe that might piss you off, or you start giving them the cold shoulder, and then literally 5 minutes later they'll be your best friend. They might forget that they said that or didn't realize the connotation that it like had an impact on your life. But that doesn't matter because they'll just do whatever they want to do because they have that free spirit that Veda mentioned earlier, that they love going out on adventures. They'll literally pick up a flight to Vegas the next day if they're just like, you know what, I'm feeling lucky, I'm just gonna go. And they'll just plan whatever they want and just have a great time doing so. And with these attractive traits, it's kind of a big W for them. Number one, they're experts in flirting, as I said before, with them being super bubbly and liking talking to different people, whether that be for knowledge or just, hey, you're a new person, what's up, how you doing? Or a, hey, what are you doing later kind of thing.
Yeah.
They're definitely down. Um, and you might actually catch their eye or vice versa because they're known for having quote unquote strong bodies. Very athletic, muscular
Oh.
physiques, and very tall stature. Um,
Peyton's tall ass.
yeah, I was like, dude, are we just pointing fingers or what?
Yeah, for real.
They also give off that very friendly, outgoing nature, and they're always surrounded by really good friends and admirers of them. So if you don't notice them from afar from their physique, the more you get to know them, you'll definitely know that this is a Sagittarius 100%. And we're going to jump right in to best and worst compatible matches. Where would you like to start off with?
um Best.
The best?
Yeah.
All right, as usual, I've got 3.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and say Leo because personally I think fire signs are best with fire signs, but I think
Mm-hmm.
Sagittarius and Leo are, so Aries is kind of in the middle of them. So I would guess with them being as different as they are within the fire signs that Leo would probably be better, but it
Uh-huh.
might be Aries. Um and then I would say Aquarius. And I would say Aquarius because I think the creativity and the like need for knowledge and inspiration pairs well with
Mm-hmm.
Aquarius's like creative outlook and like overall curiosity. Um
Mm-hmm.
and then damn, I don't know, maybe a water sign, like maybe a Libra, or maybe probably not a Pisces, but maybe a Libra actually.
Isn't Libra air?
Yeah.
Hmm.
I thought maybe
Well, it doesn't
Pisces.
matter. You can scrap out Libra and you got the first 3 right.
Oh. Oh. Hell
You got
yeah.
Aries, Leo, and Aquarius
Yeah,
right off
fire
rip.
fire signs and fire signs. That's like those are dating in your element. Good.
Yeah, 100%. Well, I know you said Leo was going to be the best, but it's actually Aries. Not by much. On the compatibility chart, it was off by
Whoa.
2%.
Wow.
Aries are actually considered Sagittarius's best and most perfect match. They have a lot of
Hmm.
energy. They love the adventure, going off on random adventures together, traveling, the excitement of seeing a new place, all that jazz. And on top of that, they don't put very many emotional demands on each other in their relationship.
Yeah.
Um, obviously depending on like the moon of the people,
Yeah.
but just focusing on like the sun signs, like they like just get each other with being within the same element, as Veda said, that like they understand that they need to be free spirited, that if they need to have a conversation, that open communication is there, but it's not necessarily needed in a way that it needs to come across as like a, hey, like we need to talk. It's gonna be like, hey, so like the other day, this, can we talk about that? And then it'll just be a very chill conversation. The only thing that there is a possible issue is that Aries, um, they have a lot of respect for people who have perceived strength. So if they see someone who's appearing like weak or like helpless or like doesn't know what to do, they're kind of like, ew, not my cup of tea kind of deal. But for Sagittarius, this is not really a problem for them. They're very easygoing. They have like an increased confidence, I guess you could say. They kind of just walk the way they walk, and if you don't like them, you don't like them. If you do, you do, kind of thing. And I think an Aries really takes to that just
Yeah.
because it's just something that they find attractive themselves, and they see themselves in a Sagittarius,
Yeah.
which just makes them a perfect match.
Wow. I definitely, maybe I should be looking for a Sagittarius.
I mean, maybe, hey,
Yeah.
But for the Leos, the Leo is that entertaining social butterfly that we covered previous. They'll have no trouble keeping a Sagittarius entertained, having them laughing, having a good time, all that jazz. But it also offers a stabilized influence where like they're always around just because a Sagittarius likes talking to a whole different people, so a Leo can basically like follow them around, have a good time, or like they'll find each other like multiple times throughout a night kind of deal. But it's not to the point where like they're hovering, like it
Mm-hmm.
feels like they're suffocating the energy out of the room. They're kind of just like, oh my god, what's going on over here? What's going on over here? Little gossipers. So it's just like they just get each other. Again, the compatibility within fire signs is insane. But they do have one major factor in whether or not the partners will stay together in the long run.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically if they're able to talk through certain things with the partners. For example, a Sagittarius actually has a really bad habit of leaving their partner when things get rough. They don't really have a really strong sense of permanence. If they notice something going south, they're like, well, I gotta go. Nope, that's it for me. I don't see anything beneficial from this. I'm just gonna leave before things get rough or before I get my heart broken. But a Leo, on the other hand, is the anchor for a Sagittarius. They're able to just give so much love to their partner, have that communication where they're like, "Hey, no, like don't worry about it. Like we can work through this. We can talk about it. Um I understand that like I might have been doing this with this person, but like I literally truly just want to be with you." They're very stable in the relationship, so it's very like one week on one side, strength on the other, so that give and take of a balance for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And with Aquarius is bringing up the last of the best compatible. Um, excuse me, even though the Aquarius has a reputation for being very aloof and like kind of go with the flow, but not really like have too much of an investment in someone or something. They're actually very stable in relationships, which is what we're talking about with Leos. And even though it takes a second for an Aquarius to get together with someone, for example, like getting to know them or opening up, stuff like that, when they do form a connection, they're in it for the long haul. So they are just wanting someone who can like match their energy, have that fun time, but not looking to change the partner, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like normally like if you get into like a relationship, sometimes you're like, you know, I love you for you, but can you
But,
work on this?
however,
Yeah.
yeah,
An Aquarius like doesn't care.
good.
They're kind of like, I like you for you. Sure, do you have these little quirks and stuff? Yeah, but you know, I fell in love with that kind of thing. I mean, if the opposite partner chooses to work on them or better themselves in that regard, they're like, oh my God, this is amazing. Like, I could just have more. This is awesome. So, Sagittarius is like perfect for that because that confidence is going to shine through. They want to be able to like come and go as they please and have like a fun time with their partner, but not have to have all that like crying and worrying all the time. I mean, sure, it probably happens every once in a while, you know, but
Right.
an Aquarius is not going to be like, "Oh my god, my boyfriend or girlfriend is just like out there like they're just like cheating on me all the time." No. They got better things to worry about. Like they're just going to at the end of the day, if it's a conversation, it's a conversation.
Right.
And then that brings us to our worst compatible matches. 3 going up.
Okay. I definitely think that there's an earth sign on there. I just imagine Capricorn is awful. Um
It's just terrible.
well, it's kind of one of those things where it's like I just think that Capricorns and earth or like and earth signs in general don't fuck heavy with fire signs. Like I just
Yeah.
feel like it's just too polar opposite. So I'm gonna say Capricorn for sure.
Okay.
Um I'm gonna say maybe also I love you guys. I love earth signs. I do. I'm also probably gonna say Taurus.
Dang, I
Um
thought she says I love you, and I was like, dang, is she really gonna have a Pisces up there? That's crazy.
no, I am gonna put Pisces up there. I'm sorry.
Dang it.
I love
What
you.
gave us away?
I
Are we too emotional?
I think
Yeah.
for the same reason that Aries is number 1, I would imagine you guys are probably number 1 or 2 for least compatible, because Pisces, I love you. I don't mean this about you. Pisces have a lot of emotional demands.
Yeah.
And I think
That's fair.
that's very taxing on freer signs like
Yeah.
Sagittarius. So I just don't see it working. And like, it's kind of the same thing. I don't think water signs would be great for Sagittarius in general, but Cancer comes from a place of understanding, and Scorpio comes from a place of distance, where Pisces comes from a place of like complexity.
Mm.
And I think that complexity kind of, well, I think it makes things complicated.
Yeah, like it's suffocating in a way.
Yeah, for
Like they
somebody
demand too
who,
much.
yeah, for somebody who wants to be as free as like a Sagittarius, or say like as a Aquarius, I would
Mm-hmm.
say that, you know, the kind of like emotional stability that a Pisces needs from their partner might be like a little bit of a ball and chain. Not like to a
Yeah.
like an unfathomable scale, but like just like a noticeable ball and chain. Barely
Mm-hmm.
noticeable, but noticeable.
Yeah, of course, of course. So you're gonna go with those 2 Earth signs and Pisces?
Yeah, I'm going to go in order. I think I would go Capricorn, Pisces, Taurus.
You got one.
Oh, fuck. Just one? That's crazy.
Yes, we've got Scorpio,
Wow.
Taurus, and Sagittarius.
Oh, like Sagittarius is incompatible with their own sign?
Yes.
Have we ever had that before?
Once. Only once before. But yeah,
Wow. That is, I feel like that's very rare to be incompatible with your own sign.
I agree for sure. I feel like if anything, an air sign would be the issue.
Yeah, me too. That's what I would think.
Because they're too like flip floppy, I guess.
Yeah,
That would be my term.
because they're too hot and cold. Like
Yeah.
in terms of their overall like daily mood. And so
Mm-hmm.
you would think that two kind of like hot and cold people probably wouldn't do super well together. But it
Yeah.
shocks me that independent and free Sagittarius would be incompatible with independent
Themselves.
and free Sagittarius.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we'll get there. We'll get there.
Okay.
But starting off with Scorpio, they are actually the worst possible compatibility
That
with
shocks
Sagittarius.
me, actually.
In
Well,
a
if
way.
you take like communication into play, it doesn't shock me at all, actually.
So the biggest issue is that they have too different of an outlook on life.
Yeah.
The Scorpio is too intense, wants to develop that very deep emotional bond, but a Sagittarius is like, yo, I understand we're in a committed relationship, but please give me some space. But unfortunately, there's not really good communication between these two, especially when it comes to jealousy. The Scorpio is number
Mm.
1 for having a jealous meter, and unfortunately, being the little flirty free spirit they are, the Sagittarius dings it all the way to the end of like, oh my god, where are they at? Who are they talking to? What's going on? Am I being cheated
Oh,
on?
yeah.
So it's just way too much. The Scorpio is too suffocating for the Sagittarius, and the Sagittarius is quote unquote too shallow and unsatisfying for a Scorpio. So I mean, there might be some who like try to date, but unfortunately between these two signs there's just no um like secure relationship after that
Mm-hmm.
point. I think it's just date and done. Like that's it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Wow. You know what though? I think the only reason that Scorpio didn't come into my brain at all is just
Mhm.
because like one of my old friends I was talking about that is a Sagittarius
Yeah.
is like happily married to a Scorpio.
Huh.
Yeah, but it must be. I mean,
There are other stuff.
granted, if you believe in that stuff, that's probably shocking. But if you're like us who have a general interest in it and it's like cool, but it's not how you dictate your life, it's
Yeah.
kind of just like a
Oh,
that's a
cute.
yeah, that's a tick against astrology as being credible.
Oh,
Um
yeah.
but it's got it if in the case of you believing hardcore in this, it probably has something to do with like where their other signs are placed,
Mm-hmm.
their other planets and stuff, cuz like
Yeah.
I bet you there's something in like, the fourth house or the third house that deals with emotions or family that is completely in sync for them, and so it works out. And like we always say, this stuff isn't, it's a pseudoscience. It's not a bona fide science. It doesn't you don't it's not gospel. You don't live by this because
Yeah,
there's a million
exactly.
different combinations that dictate who you are, not just these three. Um so it's not that shocking, but I think just due to the fact that I so often go based off of like what I know from seeing firsthand, Scorpio just never would have been in my mind.
Mm-hmm. Well, the one that was on your mind was Taurus. And
Yeah,
that is one for
yeah, yeah,
surezies.
yeah.
Unfortunately, this is I don't know. I feel like this kind of like was my first guess too, just with how like free spirited we keep saying Sagittarius are. Taurus are just not that. They're the homebodies. They want it to
Right.
stay day by day the same. So if a Sagittarius comes in and they're like, "Nah, I want to go to Spain this weekend." That's like a Taurus's worst nightmare. They're like, "You want to what? Spain? Why?" Like, and the Sagittarius is like, "Cause it would be fun." And the Taurus would just freak out. Too much change. It's just not their cup of tea, and that would just make life unbearably dull for a Sagittarius. They're like, no, I'm done here. And because a Sagittarius is going in and out, going places, partying, hanging out with a bunch of different people, this also makes a Taurus feel very insecure. It could also lead to more possessiveness and
Hmm.
jealousy, as we saw with Scorpios, which is another deal breaker for our Sagittariuses, unfortunately.
Interesting.
And now we get to the real question. Why can't a Sagittarius date themselves? Normally, if people of the same sign get together, their qualities of the sign just get magnified. It's like
Right.
two atoms in the same room, just like having a great time. They do have really good understanding of each other because they just have similar traits, qualities, um, like prospects of life, like what they want to do and
Right.
whatnot. Um, but in the case of Sagittarius's, um, they have an issue with the compatibility of a long-term relationship. Like they could go on dates, have a little fling, have a fun time, but they tend to be really shy of commitment, at least initially, and they usually must be convinced by like their other partner to want to like settle down, have a fun time together, but like with each other, not just like here and go, there and go. So, unfortunately, if like there's no anchor, as we talked about with Leos and Aries, if there's no anchor, the Sagittarius will just be like, okay, bachelor or bachelorette life, like I don't have to do
Mm,
anything here.
yeah.
Yeah. So it's basically like they just become like really great best friends, and then it doesn't really go further than that because there's like an unspoken thing that they both don't want to cross.
Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. Like if you have two people who just like love having a really great time together but don't want to ruin what they have for the chance of like I guess losing that or settling down to possible like dull life, it's just not something they'll jump the gun for. You know? They're kind of just like, "No, I'm good. I kind of want to keep what I'm doing
Yeah,
going."
which truthfully makes sense.
It wouldn't have been my first guess though. I
Mine
guess
either.
Taurus off rip for sure.
Yeah, Taurus and Capricorn were my first guess, just because I really just don't think earth signs are good for fire signs. But I think maybe that's just my personal bias coming through.
Actually, Capricorns, because of their strive to have a purpose in life and like work towards like a dream, that actually catches the eye of a Sagittarius. They're placed kind of like midway on the cat compatibility chart. So it
That's
wasn't like the
actually
worst, but
crazy.
it wasn't like the best match. Because they can like go towards a dream and like the Sagittarius could like hype them up and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, the more you know.
But now, the more you know. And now we got our lovely red and green flags. I'm going to start us off with some green flags.
Hell yeah.
Just because we'll round it off with some worse and then we'll do a recap on what we loved throughout the year. But our green flags is Sagittarius is very open minded and just a friendly person. They just love people. Honestly, I would kind of point my finger at this sign for being very extroverted. I
Mm-hmm.
couldn't really see a free spirited introvert in a way, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like this is just always just go, 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 have fun time, go.
Yeah.
And that actually brings me into my next green flag. Though, again, you can see these red flags if you'd like, or see the devil's advocate for it. But they're always down for a party. Any adventure, traveling the world, seeing different places, creating those moments. They're just always down no matter what. You say, like, you got a plan, they're like, oh, let's make a reality. Why are we saying this is a plan? We could just do it. And you might be, well, you know, I mean, and they're like, no, we're doing it. I'll see you next weekend. And unfortunately, they do have a little bit of a red flag for that if you want to give the alternate side. They can also be kind of unreliable at times, but not unreliable as in like they're doing it on purpose, but like their free spirit is like once an idea hits them, they're like, "Oh my gosh, this would be awesome. I'm going to do it." Whether or not you're in. So like for example, if they like plan a trip to let's say Spain as I used before, and you're just like, well, you know, I don't really want to go. Maybe like we could like hang out after or like during your trip, and they're like, no, I'm still gonna go. Or if a better plan catches their eye rather than the plans they had previous, they're gonna go with the cool plan over your plan, which is unfortunate, but I get it in a way. And then, as we said before, when we're going over like characteristics of the traits, or excuse me, the sign, um, their honesty can come across as blunt. And honesty is the best policy, but at the end of the day, you got to understand that like most often than not, they're not looking to hurt your feelings, although that could be a side effect of them telling you their feelings or something that they found. So you just got to be like in the right mindset for that and like anticipate the outcome, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, I would take anything with honesty even if it does hurt me cuz like feelings are
Yeah.
going to be feelings whether or not you hear it from the person
But
you want to
like
hear from or
but
someone
like
else.
honesty is something that you need. Like it's
Yeah. Exactly.
kindness is like a desire, but honesty is like a necessity.
Yeah. I agree cuz I'd rather hear it from like someone who's going to tell me it like it is than someone who is going to leave out part of the truth because I'm like not in the right mindset for it, I guess. Like I would just want to hear it. I don't care who's it from as long as it's the truth, you know? Mhm. And with that, I round off my last going over of the love side of things
I
for
can't believe this is
zodiacs.
almost over.
I'm really sad, but at least we have one more horoscope for the day, you think? Maybe. I didn't change the date
I
on this. That's really
I
embarrassing.
actually don't. I didn't even look at the doc. Do we have a horoscope?
Yes,
Okay,
cuz your
good.
lovely
You're
co-host had it
literally the
looked up
best.
already.
You're so the best.
And it's actually really cute. Very specific, though.
Oh,
Like,
interesting.
oddly
We
specific.
don't get a lot of specific ones.
No, this one's like the end of this. Like, when I was reading it, I was like, really? Do I really gotta say this? Well, here we
Mm.
go. Here we go. So, for the date of December 13th, 2024, of our last horoscope of the day /year, Dear Sagittarius, the moon is moving into Taurus and may leave you feeling confused and slightly upset. Trust issues get heightened when it comes to the people around you, but that's only because of this moon moving around like this. We suggest you take some time and effort to trust the people around you and remember that letting one's guard down and being vulnerable in front of others is actually a sign of strength and not weakness. The more time you invest in your relationships, the deeper and stronger they become. So take that chance, that leap of faith, and just let yourself become vulnerable. As a bonus, the color pink will keep your mind calm and help you stay focused in all your endeavors. So keep the color pink close to you. And specifically during the times of 7 p.m. and 9 p.m., it's very lucky for you. I can't tell you whether that is PST, EST, or CT. So if 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. has passed you, like today's podcast, I do apologize. I
Wait, that's so
cannot.
funny.
So unless you took yourself up on the chance to be lucky for these 2 hours, you're out of luck. I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell
we
you.
we took up your lucky time, man. I'm so sorry.
Isn't it lucky that we had you here? That's
that's
amazing.
that's the luck. The luck is that we got you. It was lucky for
Yes,
us. Yeah.
exactly. I just the color pink
The color
and
pink is
7 to
so
9
interesting.
p.m. I I
Okay.
had to add this one. I looked through a couple, mind you guys. We looked through a couple horoscopes and tried to get a good one, at least to the point where like they all roughly sound the same, but
Mhm.
one normally has like a better, well put way of saying it. And this one was my favorite. I wanted to have the specifics in this one. So if you don't like you're not feeling the most calm in your life right now, Sagittarius, just find something pink and give it a hug. And it's got your back. Just today though. Tomorrow might not work. So I'm just lucky that we had you between 7 and 9 p.m., whatever time zone that is.
Okay, and also technically I'm just saying like my PNG has pink on her, so
True.
maybe that was for y'all. You know,
I mean, maybe. I mean,
maybe that
hey.
was for y'all.
Well, that is the end of our Sagittarius chat.
Wow. And
That
just
makes
like
me
that,
sad.
that's the end of our year-long
Astrology corner.
series on astrology.
I know.
That's
Do you have
insane.
any moments from our previous ones that you're like, that pop out to you? They're like, oh my God, like I remember this one. This
I
one was my
remember
favorite.
I remember like God, who was it for? There was one where it like beyond shocked me because I rattled off my three guesses.
Mm-hmm.
And usually it's like I don't look at your portion of the doc at all, right?
Yeah.
Um but usually I would get like, maybe like one or two correct. But I remember the first time that I got all three, and we were sitting there, we were like, whole, and I got them in order. And so we were like, "Oh
Yeah.
my god!" And you were like, "Oh, I like, I
She
can
wrote the
confirm.
script.
I'm looking at the doc right now. She is nowhere near it. Blah blah blah." And we were just like, we were both just so flabbergasted that like I got
Yeah.
them in order, and I feel like that
Mm-hmm.
was a really like memorable. But also I think I really liked when we talked about like the signs that people important to us.
That's what I was gonna say. I loved
Yeah.
getting to the signs that I know like someone really close to me is, and we're just
Yeah.
like outing them
Like
essentially.
getting to Libra was really fun because for Lexi, Scorpio was
Yeah.
a blast because my entire family is made up of Scorpios. So like it like those moments I feel like are really fun because it's almost like I've never really looked into their signs because I'm like, oh, whatever, like I know who they are.
Yeah.
But getting to see like all of the vague stuff written down where I'm like, damn, I can see this in all of them.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think covering Pisces and Aries, especially back to back was really fun for
Yeah, that
me.
was fun too.
And then I would say the one that keeps jumping out to me has to be Libra. I really enjoyed
Yeah.
that one for some reason. That one's
Cause
just a lot of fun. Of course, we like got to talk about Wexy a lot, and then learning more about our signs was a lot of fun, especially
Yeah.
me being a double Aries in the other signs.
Yeah.
Or I guess aspects, excuse me. Yeah. I think
Yeah.
my favorite, even though like I loved hearing about your side and like listening to like more about like the characteristics and like why the sun, moon, and rising were all different. I gotta be honest, learning the compatibility was probably by far my favorite.
Yeah.
Like why certain signs work versus don't work.
Yeah.
I loved it a lot. Like doing the research for that was so much fun.
Good. I'm glad you enjoyed that part. The
Mhm.
compatibility stuff, and I think maybe it's just because I'm just like not by nature like a lovey-dovey person. Like don't
Yeah.
get me wrong, you guys, I'm sappy as fuck. But like lovey-dovey sappy is a little difficult for me.
Yeah.
So I think that part of it to me is just like not super interesting. Whereas
Mm.
like learning about like the kind of like, oh, so you're you're a moon sign, or like you're a moon Sagittarius, so you're different than a sun Sagittarius because XYZ. That part really interests me. So I'm glad it
I
worked
like
out
that one
that
more
way.
too.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think if I had gone over like just the sun sign, I probably wouldn't have been as interested. But going over
Mhm.
like those three major signs, I think that upped the ante for me. I've really enjoyed doing this, and like this is the only one that I think, like the only series that we have where I think the research to me is super fun because it's always easy to like relate it to somebody, or like just
Mhm.
to like kind of like I love being able to guess based off of all the stuff that I've learned what matches are good or bad, or like it's fun obtaining the knowledge to kind of like store it and like
Yeah,
be able
like
to
you
use it
rattling
later.
off which ones were which, like kills me every
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
I'll be sitting here having done the research and been like, okay, like me being baby astrology person
Yeah.
going through all these, I'm like, okay, like I get that, that makes sense. And then Veda comes in and she's like, nah, bro, it's because of XYZ, boom, 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 nailed it. And I'll be
And
like,
you're like,
okay,
why
so
the
did
fuck
you
did I
want to do
research
my
this?
side
Yeah.
of the podcast or what? Like, what? Why am I here?
I don't mean to.
Oh my gosh,
Sorry, I dropped my phone. Um,
it's amazing.
yeah, I
Like how
do.
well you just do it. I off the cuff too. I'm like, what the
I mean, it's one of those things where it's like I feel like when because I already had like my whole witchy phase, right, where I got like hella into this stuff, and I feel like
mm.
because I did it in the middle of my developmental years, all of it just fucking stuck. Like,
I
I
heavily agree with that
yeah
on so many different topics too.
yeah
Like
I
once you just do that in that phase, you're stuck with it for life.
yeah like I learned so much useless shit when I was like 21 to 25, and it's all just
Mhm.
stuck there now. Shit, I have
Is
no
it
interest
like
in.
is it like a W? Like do you like having that
I mean,
stuck in
like,
your
it's cool.
brain?
Like, I'll never not know how to knit a blanket, but I'm never gonna go knit a blanket. Like,
Yeah, that makes sense.
like, I'll never not know how to cast a spell for infinite riches, but I'm also
I'll never
never
do
gonna
one.
cast a spell for infinite riches.
That's so that analogy is actually perfect. I'll never not know how to do a blanket, but I'll never make one. You catch my drift? Like
Yeah.
that makes sense. I feel like this astrology knowledge will always stick with me, at least to a some degree. Obviously, some knowledge will like flow
I
out of my brain,
I think it's a
but
cool party
mm,
trick.
it is a party trick. Like imagine staring at someone and be like, "You're a Taurus, aren't you?"
Yeah.
And they're like, "What?"
That's honestly, those I have not had that moment a lot, but the few times I have had it has been really fun. While like I'll be talking to somebody, I'm like, "Are you a Leo?" And they'll be like, "Oh, I'm a Leo rising." And I'm like, "Yeah, yeah." Are
Yeah, yeah, I
you
got
are
that.
you are you hiding an earth sign under there? And they'll be like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Yeah, yeah. You're a Virgo. You fucking bitch."
They get so mad too. I'm like,
Yeah.
why?
I
Why are
think
you
it's
so mad
so
with me?
funny.
I'm trying to think of some others. Obviously, like my favorite of the beginning of these episodes is us going off on tangents. like really hard and then being
Yeah.
like, oh right, this is astrology corner. We should probably bring that
Yeah,
back,
yeah.
huh?
I feel like this has become such like a routine segment now that it's like, and it's funny because I was mentioning this the other day to one of my buddies that I was talking to because he was like, "Oh, so like your podcast is ending soon, right?" And I said, "Well, you know, our year's almost over, and like our astrology stuff is because he tuned into the last astrology one where we said, oh, next month, you know, we'll have our final one or whatever." And so
Yeah.
he was like, he goes, "Yeah." So he's like, are you guys like, you know, you're not going to continue in the new year?" And I said, "No." And you know what's fucked up about it? We got this shit down pat right in time for the year to be over.
Yeah.
Like the last 3, no tangents, and now we're done.
We should have went on tangents.
We should have gone on a tangent today.
Speaking of tangents, if you guys didn't notice yesterday, the Gamer Awards were out and
Dude,
League actually won an award.
yo. And I don't know where you guys get your league information, but I get my league information from this whole podcast called Curiosity Cove. Last
True,
Friday
every
of
last
every
week.
month.
Yeah, except this month.
Yeah.
Um,
Which is awkward.
to
'Cause they
continue the
just...
tangent.
But congratulations!
Congrats! One of the things I really wanted to bring up is Arcane did not win Best Game to Show/Movie
I
Adaptation.
think that is... Wait, what did win?
Fallout.
Oh, but I understand that.
I do too. So my justification was, because we were talking about it yesterday after stream and whatnot, because I was like, hey, did I miss anything? And I was scrolling through Twitter, and it was saying that Fallout won, and then people were upset that Fallout won, saying Arcane should have won due to XYZ, and I was like, okay, but you have to understand, like, Fallout was a perfect adaptation of the game series, while Arcane was only a snippet into Piltover and Zaun, which
Right.
is not the game.
I think Arcane also would have stood a bigger chance had it not... Okay, so think about this. Fallout was a breakout series, right?
Yeah.
Like this is the first adaptation of Fallout that we've had. Arcane was season 2. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Fallout is so fresh, and it's like I understand it winning over Arcane mostly just because what a fucking way to introduce this franchise that's been around for 30 years.
Yeah.
Well, 25 years? 30 years? 25.
25.
25? Yeah.
I think.
But like what a way to introduce this like world and this story to people. And it's like a realm of infinite possibilities, right? So like you can watch the show without ever having needed to watch like know the games, to understand the games, to have played them, anything. Versus League, the amount of people who probably watched Arcane without ever touching League, I imagine, is far lower than the amount of people who watched Fallout having never played the game.
Yeah. I feel like you could watch Arcane without any previous knowledge except, oh, this is an adaptation of League of Legends. While I feel like I enjoyed Fallout more having watched it with someone who knew previous knowledge of Fallout.
Had you never played Fallout?
No.
What?
Honestly, on God, the first time I watched it, the only knowledge I had was A, people lived in vaults. B, nukes were dropped. C, there's gonna be a bad guy, but I don't know who.
It baffles me that you never played Fallout.
No. I honestly, the first time I heard of Fallout was when Fallout 4 had its big hit.
That's insane to me. That's crazy.
Yeah, so I was just little baby Fallout person who then while talking to Wexy about it, was brought into Fallout Radio, hearing extensive
Yeah,
lore about all of the Fallout games, including New Vegas and why it's such a big hit. And then
dude.
on top
Oh,
of that, having watching the show relatively the same time she was watching the show, every Tuesday while we work, we talked about it for hours.
yeah.
Every lore, every idea, every gush about the ghoul because I simp.
Oh,
But
yeah.
anyways, it just yeah, that was my
Unrelated.
first yeah, unrelated but knowledgeable. Um I just wanted to learn more about it and I chose to watch a show.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Um. I mean, one fair because Fallout is an incredible franchise, an incredible story, amazing world. It has such a stellar soundtrack. It's just a beautiful game in general. The characters are great. The like mechanics. I could never stop gushing about Fallout New Vegas,
Mhm.
specifically. But and that's I think most people who played from Fallout 2 probably would agree. I'm sorry, Fallout 3 would probably agree because 3 came out and then New Vegas came out and that was the shit. And then Fallout 4 came out and everyone was like, hell yeah, we're still in this bitch. And then 76 came out and we were kind of like, eh.
Yeah.
But now the show has like revitalized like the love for it because I won't lie to you, Fallout was kind of falling off. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
they hadn't had a very like successful run of a game of any sort in a while, and then um when they released the show, I feel like all of us who used to love Fallout kind of like came back out of the woodworks. And
Yeah, I agree.
so I
You had a lot
think
of people like artists coming out, people who love the lore, played the
yeah.
games, who have been longtime fans of the game, like gush about the show.
And I think that's another reason why I would say that they deserved that win.
I agree. Though I did also hear that Arcane won best audio though in a
That I
show or
agree
some
with.
shit.
I agree with that. Like sound design or whatever.
Yeah, and I also love that they had live performances
Oh my
for
god.
Remember Me and
The
then the
line.
one that is right after Remember Me
So, okay,
for
the
uh
line,
what's his
right?
face? Vander.
Uh
The line?
yeah, the oh, you mean Victor? That's the one for Victor. The one for Vander is Remember Me. And then the
Oh.
one
Oh, yes, my
yeah.
bad. Yes, I flipped the two. They were
Yeah,
back to
yeah.
back, so it
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
confused me a little bit.
The
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
line is an amazing song to me, and I cannot believe that my ass, who used to be addicted to 21 Pilots, is right back where I started having a 21 Pilots song on fucking repeat in my ears at all times. I can't believe they did this to me. Also, shout out to my favorite K-pop group, Stray Kids, who had Come Play
True.
on the album. It was such a great song.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I think their soundtrack and honestly like their sound quality in the show was absolutely incredible. Like I would
Yeah.
say the animation was amazing
Dude,
for
I can't stop
Arcane.
gushing about the animation.
Yeah, it was incredible, but my god, did the soundtrack carry that show.
Yes, I agree. Honestly, if they even had a shitty story, I would just watch it.
Yeah. I would still
Because you can't beat amazing soundtrack and those visuals are just stunning. I can't
yeah.
stop gushing about it.
Yep.
I
Yeah,
agree.
even if nothing ended in a way of which I liked. I mean, like, truthfully, I was sitting there pissed at the time shit that they do. Because, like, if you know me, you know what my preferences are when it comes to fucking around with time. And obviously, Echo is a character, so they're going to do it some way.
Yeah.
Um,
They took too
but
long to have Echo do that though.
yeah, I think I'm just like unhappy with the choices that they made there, but it doesn't take away from the show for me because like so much else of it was so good.
Honestly, I just needed 3 more episodes.
I need more.
I mean, yes, but hypothetically, if we just needed a little bit more time, teehee, by the way, but anyways, if they didn't rush the whole battle scene in one episode and lengthened it to the 3 to get the full inclusion of all the characters, honestly, I'm still pissed about Savika, but besides the point, why they couldn't have just, like, went back on why everything mattered so much to certain people. Like, I think I needed a little bit more time, like, with Caitlyn and Mel. I
Yeah.
needed more time with Jace, who just came back. Echo, who just came back. Like, there's just so much time that we needed to, like, bond with characters a little bit more, which is why I liked Act 2 better.
Yeah, dude, Act 2 was incredible.
I will just watch Act 2 on repeat
Yeah,
for life. Like, I don't even
literally,
care.
dude, I can't get over Act 2. I cried so much
Yes.
during Act 2, and then not, like, I think maybe a single tear in Act 3. Because, like, and it's crazy because the pacing through the whole show had been rushed, right? Like through the whole show, it was very fast. It was very, very fast. And I've gotten in countless arguments with people about why I think it's too fast. Because a lot of the people who don't know about things like Hex Tech, who don't know about things like Piltover and Zahn, and the Chem Barons and stuff, I think that they explained that stuff adequately, but us having some sort of background knowledge just from voice lines or lore pages or whatever, we can be like, oh, okay, cool, this is what they're explaining, cool to get more information on that. For everybody else, it's like you're getting all of this information in a 40-minute span, and you're just expected to keep that in your brain, and I think it's too much too fast. And
especially stuff referenced from season 1.
Yeah, exactly. So I thought the whole thing felt rushed, but then when we got into Act 3 of this season, I was like, hold
Act
on.
3 was on another time shift.
I was like,
oh
no,
God.
not even I'm like connecting dots right away. So hold on a second. Like,
yeah. It took me watching it again to get it.
Yeah, part of me thinks that maybe that they were planning to do a longer season and Netflix said no. Or something.
Man, should have said yeah. They made the most money. Shut up.
Yeah,
that's
for real.
ridiculous. But well, thank you guys for listening to us go off on a little tangent. I thought we needed one at the end of this episode.
Yeah, I think it's only right.
Fair. Well, I guess this is us wrapping it up on our last astrology corner.
Wow.
With one last hint. We have one episode left in 2024, and that is with us next week on December 20th. And the only hint that I will give you is that 2024 has been absolutely amazing with Veda and I starting up this podcast. And we want to let you guys know what we thought on the year as a whole. And also a little gift from us to you. And we'll leave it at that.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, remember, Coveys, keep it real,
but
keep it curious. Goodbye.